Hello and welcome to my week 2 presentation on the iodine clock reaction. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about what supplies we'll need and then what measurements, and then we'll jump right into the presentation. So the first set of things that we're going to need, so I'm just going to go through, we're going to need hydrogen peroxide, cornstarch, vitamin C tablets. Now, following the video, I'm going to have to use 4 of these because all I could find were 500 milligrams, but you can use 1,000 milligrams. We need 2,000 in total. And then last but not least, we have iodine solution. I could not find 5% or 2%, so I found the only thing I could, which was 10%, so we're going to be using that. And then, of course, you'll need some mixing bowls and beakers as well. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of jumped to a different location so that I could go ahead and do some of the experiment with you on camera, which is really cool. Just need a little bit of extra room than where we were in my office. So we're going to go through and talk about the measurements for each. Now, because I only could find the 10% solution, I'm going to go ahead and cut in half. I'm thinking that that's going to be right. So we'll do 12.5 milliliters of the iodine instead of 25 milliliters. So for the measurements for solution A, we're going to use, obviously, like I said, we're going to use 4 of the 500 milligrams vitamin C, and I'm going to go ahead and take my mortar and pestle here and crush those up so that we can get them nice and fine and powdery, and then we'll do 12.5 milliliters of the iodine solution. And I found some, obviously, like glass containers as well. So I'm going to use some beakers. We've got some milliliters on here. I've got some other jars that use milliliters as well. So I'm going to go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so for solution A, we're going to use 60 milliliters of water, which I'm going to use purified water instead of tap water because I do not have distilled water. So we're going to do that, and then I went ahead and crushed up the 4 vitamin C tablets in here, and we're going to go ahead and mix those together. Do that. Just going to grab a spoon. Okay. So just like he said in our example video, just keep stirring and you'll come up with a solution like this. Now, I do have a coffee filter, so I am going to go ahead and do that off camera. I'll filter these out and see what the clear solution is that we come up with, because there's, like he said in the video, there's a lot of insoluble things inside of the tablets that are not going to obviously dissolve in water. So I'll be right back. Okay, so while that solution is filtering through the coffee filter, I am going to go ahead and start solution B, which is 0.4 grams of cornstarch. I'm going to use a half a teaspoon. So go ahead and put that in there. And then we're also going to use 300 milliliters of water. And I went ahead and got that, purified water. And then we'll go ahead and put that in our mixture. And I'll go ahead and stir this up. Now, the next move I'm going to make, just because this isn't a colorless solution, is I don't have a microwave either. So I'm going to heat this up to boiling over the stove, and then I will be back and we will start the reaction. Okay, welcome back. So I went ahead and I removed my coffee filter, and we're left with that solution, which is pretty clear, which is good. So we'll use our filter. I've got the water and the cornstarch on the stove, and it's about to boil. So I'm going to go ahead and add the iodine, which I did 12.5, remember that, to the solution. And instantly, that's pretty cool. Instantly, there was enough vitamin C in there, so it went ahead and turned into a colorless solution. So I am now going to top that off with 500 milliliters of water, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and topped my iodine and vitamin C solution off with 500 milligrams of water. So we have our solution A, which is finished. I just got done boiling the cornstarch in the water, and now I'm going to add 150 milliliters of hydrogen peroxide. And I did not have any extra filters, so we're left with this. Kind of better than what it was, but that's all right. So go ahead and add that, which is our hydrogen peroxide. I did 150 milliliters of that. I'm going to mix this up, and then we're going to move on to the actual reaction. Alrighty, so I'm back. We're going to go ahead and add solution A and solution B in a beaker. I'm going to do about 100 milligrams or milliliters of each. So I have my first solution, which is the cornstarch, water, and hydrogen peroxide. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another 100 milliliters. So we're at 200 milliliters. And I'm going to go ahead and start stirring this, and then we'll talk about what's happening to this reaction. So as you can see, I have equal parts of those, and we'll see how long it takes for that blue solution to come up. That's what we're looking for, and we'll kind of talk about what's going on with that here in just a moment. Okay, so while we're waiting for that mixture to kind of settle in and see what happens, I'm going to first talk a little bit about what happened in solution A, where that vitamin C kind of hit the reaction of the iodine and what happened there. So the colorless reaction that begins to form is from adding iodine, obviously, to the vitamin C tablets, and what occurs is the vitamin C is converting iodine, which is I2, into iodide, which is I-, which is pretty cool. So then obviously we finished off by adding equal parts of both to a beaker, and the two reactions that are occurring are competing with each other. So what's happening is they push back and forth. Hydrogen peroxide from solution B wants to oxidize the I- that was created in solution A back into colored I2, but the absorbic acid or the vitamin C wants to reduce it from I2 back to I-, or I-. So what's happening, and I can show you, and it may be because I'm not using distilled water, it may be because of I'm just trying to kind of speculate why it's not turning blue yet. And there are some other reasons too, which we'll get to here in just a minute. So, and maybe it's that I'm not constantly stirring it, I'm not quite sure. There's a plethora of reasons why it could be either taking a really long time or why it's not actually happening. So eventually the excess hydrogen peroxide will take over, or it should take over the vitamin C, so that the I2 then starts to accumulate, forming a triiodide complex. And then eventually it should kind of complex with the starch that's in the solution B, which will turn blue, hopefully. So timing is super dependent upon temperature and concentration, obviously. So the more I- or hydrogen peroxide, the less time, or the increase of temperature would be the less time it would take. So that could be a speculation of why this isn't turning blue, either right away or at all. So I'm going to give it just a few more seconds here. I feel like I definitely did all of the steps correctly. But it could be that I have more of that I- or I-, which is iodide, or the hydrogen peroxide. It could be that as well. And it also could be due to the fact that I couldn't find anything but 10% iodine solution. So I'm assuming that the molecules are a little bit different when it comes to I- and I2. So maybe this, I either just didn't have enough, or it was the wrong solution. Obviously it was the wrong concentration of the solution, so that definitely could be part of it. But so if we did increase the vitamin C or we decreased the temperature, the longer it would take. Actually, so I'm wrong. So that's a little bit backwards. So more vitamin C or increase of temperature. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's why it's taking a little bit longer. So if there were a presence of hydrogen or more hydrogen peroxide or more I-, then it would have almost immediately turned. So I kind of got that backwards, sorry. But yeah, so I think this may have been a flop. And like I said, there were probably several different reasons kind of coming together. It may have been the temperature. It may have been the fact that I don't have a microwave too, and me boiling it on the stove could have been a little bit different. But those are the reactions that are happening there. So hopefully that was good and you enjoyed it. Thank you.